Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Love One Life. I'm Fred, this is Drea,
Hi.
and we've got a special guest on today called Amanda, and we're going to be talking about how to live a life you love.
First thing in the morning, don't grab your phone. Put a little sticky note on the outside of the phone that says, don't look. You can shut off your alarm and then don't look at your phone. Even before you put your feet on the floor, set yourself an intention for the day. Just put it out there. So it could be, I choose to feel calm, confident, in control today. This whole society is based on problem solving. And when you are always focused on a problem, the problem has to exist. So it's like if you are saying, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds. I need to lose 10 pounds. It's like that 10 pounds always has to exist, and you automatically build a resistance.
On the airplane, before you take off your own mask on, before you put anyone else's mask on. Living a life where you're always last means that the people around you can't fundamentally respect you.
One of the biggest shocks that I've had about myself as a consummate people pleaser back in the day. We're just like, are you good? Are you good? Are you good? Like, am I good?
What I would tell them is you have to start with yourself first.
This is going to be really exciting. So, Andrew, you've already spoken to Amanda at length about what she's done in her book. What have we got coming up today?
So amazing. First of all, can I just say that Amanda is tuning in all the way from America. Love that for us. And this is her book, which I really, really enjoyed, Mom Mindset Mastery. So basically, with all of the chaos that goes on in your life, you can look at yourself and you can try the best that you can do. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to do this right. I'm going to do that right. But what I think is really interesting is we don't often take into account all the madness that's in our life normally. And when I say madness, I'm saying kids, families, your partners, all those kind of responsibilities, those don't just go away so you can concentrate on yourself. You have to work on them all together. And that is the brilliance of this book. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Amanda,
Hello.
Fantastic to meet you. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Whereabouts are you dialing in from today, Amanda?
I am from a little bit on the south shore of Boston, Massachusetts in the USA.
Well, welcome all the way across here in little UK. We're going to be talking today around how to love the life that you live, and your book, Mom Mindset Mastery. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write it in the first place.
So I used to be a corporate girl. I worked in corporate for years, and I ended up having just a whole change of course once the pandemic hit. And I noticed I had got into this work. I was scrolling the internet one day, just trying to find ways to stay positive during all that uncertain time. And I stumbled across an ad from just this little red-haired guy out in Australia, and he was talking about something called Superconscious Recode, and it just really sparked my interest. So I ended up clicking on the ad, which is kind of rare for me. Just really loved everything it was. And it was a little bit woo, but I thought that was kind of fun. And I ended up going into his masterclass program, went part-time at work. I just changed my whole life. And I realized during the pandemic, when you couldn't see people, we weren't out as much. I'd FaceTime my friends here and there, but everybody was kind of stuck in their houses. And I just noticed that once people were starting to get together again, and I was out to dinner with my friends one time, and I just remember hearing kind of the chaos and the struggles and motherhood and the overwhelm. And I noticed that I completely changed, and it was such a great feeling, and I needed to share it. That is kind of what inspired me. I couldn't believe that I used to be that same person and how completely I had changed.
What really stood out to me was your relationship you felt like with your kids had massively changed. And when you reflected back, you were looking at yourself like, I was quite naggy. I was quite short-tempered. I was shouting a lot more than I really wanted to. And that changed. Yeah.
Relate.
For you, was it important to look for answers of how to change that? Did you even know that that was a problem that you had?
I did. And it felt awful. So I went part-time when I first had my son. I used to make a ton of money. I was, in commissions. I was doing great. And then a couple of years later, I had my daughter, and just the cost of daycare, I ended up going down to a different role, and it just wasn't working for me. So I ended up, embarking on all these part-time jobs. I did babysitting, remote work, just trying to make ends meet. And I think it was just with the financial stress, my kids at home. no steady work. I had a husband, my husband's here. He's so great. But he's working, he was out in the office and, trying to carry us on one salary was hard. You're with your kids most of the day. So it's like, those are the people I was taking it out on. And I hated it. It's like, I found myself at night constantly like apologizing, especially to my son. He was like a little bit older. Always just saying, I'm so sorry, like mom didn't handle that, right. It didn't feel good inside. Part of me thought it was maybe because I kind of lost myself a little and I had a huge career, almost 10 years of being home. I ended up trying to help our financial situation and I went back to work full time. But being out of an office for so long, settled for a low level type job just to kind of get my foot back in the door. And so it's like I was still finding, the financial stress. I was now in a job that only had 2 weeks vacation. And as any parent knows, when you have kids in school, summer breaks and all that stuff, I just felt like now my money is just going to try to keep them, busy while I'm at work. And it's crazy. So it's like I just felt really quick and short tempered and just the yelling. Of course we had plenty of fun times and I was a good mom, but there was a lot of stress and most of it revolved around financial. I knew it had nothing to do with my kids. And I felt like they were the ones that I was taking it out on. And the pandemic hit and that's just when everything changed. And now you're balancing remote school and all those other factors. So that's when I was like trying to do my little scroll on the internet, going to Google, looking for some help on positive tips. And when I found the Magnetic Mind program, that's when things shifted.
I can imagine that there must be, with your transformation, there must have been people maybe like within your family or your close contacts that thought this was a bit crazy for you to transform so much.
So I had finally landed this town job, which was steady. And my husband, my mom, and my sister were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to go part-time. And now I want to be a mindset coach. But right after I had done the program, I immediately went into certification because I loved it so much. So after a while, my mom and sister, they're not like woo-woo at all. I, was dragging them in the beginning because I didn't have a lot of people on my calls. I, asked them to come show up. And now they're the first ones signing up because they absolutely love the work. So they're now my biggest supporters, but it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
That's lovely, isn't it? Especially when you get the support of your family and everything to help you through. It makes a lot of difference, doesn't it?
Did you did you struggle with moving from what I would consider corporate or certainly, big business into running your own stuff?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's such a change of life. We also did it just the year before COVID. You go from being very active out there in the world to being stuck at home and then having a home office. It was difficult. There's so many things associated with the corporate world that when you are independent of it, you have to rebuild yourself to some extent because you've been conditioned for corporate.
And I think it was then, I would say, that you started your self-development journey as well.
Yeah, I think when you're chasing a career or you're working hard, you're working all the hours, you're trying to hit goals for other people. And I was being paid well, but I was achieving other people's goals.
Right.
When you step out, you start to think, what do I want for myself? And then you start to take your own journey and get into the reading and get into the learning and all the techniques to keep positive, to keep motivated. So that's what we do, isn't it? But when you're in the workplace, it's pretty hard to find that path.
Yeah.
And when I say the workplace, in a full-time corporate job environment.
Mm-hmm. You speak to so many people as well who have come out of that. I mean, maybe COVID has a lot to answer with regards to that as well, don't you think?
I absolutely think so. I know so many people who've changed their whole path because of COVID. It's, the light that came out of all that, which is great.
Yeah, and I think because everything was done online and then it almost like woke the world up a little bit as to the possibilities of doing that. Although there is, there's a part in your book where you talk about connection and finding your community as well. And I think what we found, particularly myself, is a few years coming out of that COVID piece where I was very actually happy doing this online stuff. Like I'm comfortable with this. I don't think a lot of people are. And I think they wanted to get back to that face-to-face stuff. And then the more I went into it, the more I enjoy it again. So I kind of thought that it would all change and stay changed, but I don't think it has. I think everybody's kind of getting back into it now.
Yep, and the car traffic jams are certainly there. To
Right.
prove it.
Yeah, everybody's on the road.
Get out of the way.
Nobody's online. So I mean, we've talked a little bit about like massive transformations here, haven't we? It was a massive transformation for you
Mm.
to go independent. I know that that was something that you always wanted to do. You were feeling maybe like internally unhappy, Amanda, and
Yes.
which promoted your change. It was transformative for you. But some people I know, they don't want to go crazy, do they? They like, I just need to look after myself better. I need to feel a bit happier in myself, and I just don't right now, would you say?
Absolutely. And I've had so many people hesitate to do coaching, saying that, saying, I don't need to transform my whole life. I don't, and it's like, you don't have to. I've had a few women who were close to retirement, and they're like, I don't want to start over. I don't, and it's like, it's okay. It's like, you can actually just add joy into your day right now, because when you can find ways to just be full, it doesn't matter what work you're doing, really. It's like you're excited to go home. You're just feeling good. You're putting that time in for yourself. And that to me is huge. And especially as parents, we just forget that we can, show our kids that it's so important we're trying to always build them up and tell them to be confident and, all these things. But it's like, if we're not leading that or putting ourselves last all the time, it's, hard to see. It's like, you obviously lead the best by example. So I just think that's really important, as parents, to make sure you're doing stuff that fills you up.
That's so, so true. One of Fred's favorite sayings is monkey see, monkey do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a huge thing in our house to lead by example. I certainly have memories of growing up where my parents would be very much like, don't do this, Andrea, but they'd be doing it.
Right.
Like, and I've been my moral compass has been very strong since I've been a child. And so I find that very confusing and quite hypocritical, if I'm completely honest. And so I try not to do that. I mean, nobody's perfect. We're all human, and we always want better for our kids than maybe that we even want for ourselves. And so I try not to be hypocritical, but I do try to lead by example.
Do you know what? There's quite a few points on this. On the last point you made, Amanda, regarding the kind of putting yourself last, working all the hours God sends, and always feeling like you're doing everything for being a parent, but you're not putting you in there in that picture in any way. And I think it's become really commonplace. I don't know if it was ever like it in the past. And I know that the dynamic of the home and the family life has shifted over the last 50 years significantly, certainly in terms of roles and what people do. But when you look at all parents, this sort of obsession with, say, you might call it soccer moms in the US, right? But
Yes.
Well done.
it's this obsession that all the parents in the UK, and certainly in the middle class and people with perhaps cars and what have you, they're out there every weekend, all weekends, just driving their kids from one activity to another activity, and they're paying for this and paying for that. And the development that the children are getting is immense. And I'm not saying that's in any way a bad thing, but when they are the servant, when they are the person that's last, then it doesn't set any kind of role model and inspirational model to the child. And the child grows up feeling entitled. And then we're starting to see this, people talk about these generations coming through, they're entitled, they're unhappy. They've had everything. They've literally had everything thrown at them. Phones, toys, whatever you want, have it. And then they're fundamentally unhappy because they don't know their place in the world. They don't know how to earn the money to pay for what they've been having their whole life so far. So they end up a bit stuck.
They don't know how to want for anything because everything is produced for them immediately. There's no need for anything. And even when it comes to like our own kids for birthdays and Christmases, the lists that they're sending are kind of getting shorter because they got everything in abundance.
So what do you tell moms and women when they're in that situation? This kind of, I almost call it over mummying.
Absolutely. So what I would tell moms, you have to start with yourself first. And I can literally 15 minutes a day. I'm talking 15 minutes a day. I think this is just like a foolproof way to help anyone. And it's to chunk it out in 3 separate 5 minutes. First thing in the morning, don't grab your phone, whatever it is. Put a little sticky note on the outside of the phone that says, don't look. And then I just think you should sit there even before you put your feet on the floor and set yourself an intention for the day. Just put it out there. So it could be, I choose to feel calm, confident, in control today. I choose to be happy today. Whatever just feels good inside. Then I always say drink water every night. You dehydrate overnight. So before you're grabbing your coffee, your tea, whatever it is, just get up, have water. maybe put a squeeze of lemon in it. That's kind of like a little signal to yourself, like a nice reset. So just to try to create some little morning ritual, 5 minutes, stretch. I'm not talking, roll it out like yoga mats, just literally rolling your shoulders, like a nice stretch, just, showing your body, I'm here and it's time to start the day. And then my most important is to visualize your day. So our subconscious does not know the difference if things are happening now or if it's happening in your mind. So if you can just sit there and imagine it, you can do this in the shower. You can do this while you're brushing your teeth. Envision what you have that day. Oh, if you have a podcast, I'm going to, do so well on this podcast today. It's going to be fabulous. I have this meeting. I have this phone call is going to go great. My commute is going to be amazing. Even if I'm in traffic, I'll listen to my favorite playlist, go through the whole day. I'll have a nice dinner with my kids, your family, get a good night's sleep. You name it, just go through and visualize. Because once you put something out there, it's out there. It's huge. It's like that's half the battle. So now you're just in the right frame to go out. Then at some point during the day, you take 5 minutes and literally just think of somebody that is in need. It could be your friend. It could be someone who's sick. It could be a group of people. It could be literally the world. It could be your kid who has a test. Just literally put out a high vibe. Like, I just want so-and-so to master their test today. I'm going to put out this task as the completion of this task as a prayer for blank. And you insert there. And just for those couple of minutes, you just think of that person. And it just adds like a little fulfillment to your day. It gives you some purpose. And then at night, I always love like a 5-minute 8-time routine before you go to bed. No phone, no nothing. Like I said, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So you can just review your day, like without judgment. You go through your day. And if there was a meeting that you didn't like, say you yapped at your kid a little bit, you wish you didn't, and just rewrite it how you wish it had gone, like in your mind. And then always end with gratitude. Pick 2 things that you're grateful for, and not like a little list, not like I'm grateful for this and this, like feel into it. It's like, why are you grateful for your delicious cup of coffee in the morning? Literally smell it, taste it. If you can go to bed feeling grateful and happy, and you can wake up feeling grateful and happy, and you have one little thing, like these are 5-minute increments, one little thing in the afternoon you can do, it's like your whole day will change. It really has been a game changer for me.
Do you find that when you're advising moms and women that they struggle to even find that time for themselves?
Yes. And that's why I chunked it into the 5 minutes. And that's where our phones are amazing, because you can put little reminders on your phone. You can mine. I have so many reminders on my phone and little alarms that go off that remind me of things. It's like, all right, you can take how can you not take 2 seconds to think of someone you love, right? It's like these things are so quick. Like I said, the reminders on your phone, I'm constantly manifesting on my phone. I love it. I have actually have a new program coming out in 2026, and I already have an alarm set. So every day, it says your VIP Mindset Mastery sold out. It's like I'm putting it out there.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm putting it out there. It's like nobody even knows how to buy it yet, but it's sold out.
It's gonna happen.
But that's where the phones, come in handy. It's good to have those little reminders.
I think it brings to mind to me the saying, it's simple, but it's not easy.
We talk about it as consistency, don't we? So no matter what it is in life that you're trying to do, if you don't do something consistently, it doesn't change. So, somebody that's maybe feeling the need to go to the gym for drastic reasons isn't going to make any difference by going and spending 6 hours killing themselves, but put in 30 minutes every other day for the rest of their life, and it will transform their life.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's that consistent application. And I love this kind of reminders and these little time chunks that people can give themselves to put themselves first for a moment, and also build, because I would always think, well, start with your 15 minutes. And I know how hard it is when you speak to people. I am so busy. And if you said, well, if I was to take your phone screen time today, I'd pretty much be able to tell you you're actually not as busy as you think you are. Then knock off Netflix, how much time we spent on that this evening, and all the other things. And there is time, but let's make it and then start growing it so that you have a little bit more time for yourself.
I think there are also different seasons in your life as well, Amanda. When you've got the young kids versus when they're like toddlers versus when they're getting bigger.
Yeah, it's true.
All of these different responsibilities. We're in a great stage of life right now. We're very lucky because ours are all older, and certainly they're more responsible for themselves and self-disciplined. We've really put a lot of work into that to make sure that they can be. But I know, see, even like my bestie, she's got 2 kids and a full-time job, and they both work, and he's like independent, and Lord, and she is the mother for everybody, it seems, you know. And I think, gosh, yeah, I can imagine how difficult it is to feel even the ability to take those 5 minutes for yourself in the morning. Almost seems impossible for some people, doesn't it?
It does, but that's when you set your alarm 5 minutes earlier, right?
Okay.
5 minutes. That's why and the other thing is I try to do it like in that particular way. It's strategic because you can habit stack. Habit stacking is something that just makes you follow through. So it's like if you're doing that 5-minute routine every single morning at the same time, if you pick your little afternoon that you want to think about someone, you just stack it onto something else. And it's like, you feel like, okay, I can't eat lunch until I do this. It's literally those couple of minutes, or at night, everyone goes to bed. So, I mean, even if you fell asleep doing this, it's just even intentionally, being conscious about it, just that awareness, being conscious is helpful.
And it definitely, I can see why you talk about super conscious swagger
Yes.
in your book, because this is all about being super conscious, isn't it? It's being conscious
is.
about what you're doing, when you're doing it, and why you're doing it.
I actually really sympathize with the mom dilemma of when you've been out of work for a time, raising a family, the workplace has moved on, your confidence is low, you still have the old skills, and then you end up going back, and I think it's a really common thing, on a sort of a lower grade job into a world that you don't really want to be in. You're there for financial stress reasons, like you say, and you kind of feel worse off than you did before you had a family. So there's a kind of a negative energy to that, maybe living in your life where you're now even less fulfilled than you were
Yes.
before you had children. And that leaves women in a bit of a dilemma. And I think there's other reasons that men get stressed. Often the higher they climb, the more stressful life gets, and that kills them in a different ways. But for women in particular, it kind of feels a bit of a bum deal, isn't it? That having a family and having a career seem at odds with each other rather than being complementary
Yes.
to one another.
Absolutely. And that's where we try to work in those little things to create the balance. And something I find so necessary is to add joy. And this is where living a life I love comes in. It's like you have to find what works for you. And honestly, it can be, if you like to sing, literally you can sing in the shower. You can put on your favorite playlist. Take it if you love to cook. You don't even have to take a cooking class once a week. It's like, look up a new recipe. How you can do that. There's just so many ways to just remember yourself and things that you enjoy. And once you find joy in your life, it trickles down. Your whole family notices it. You're just lighter.
You come across different, don't you? And you show
Absolutely.
up differently. I think sometimes we think it's selfish in which to choose ourselves and to spend our time with ourselves or be good to ourselves. But after we've done that, everybody starts to get used to it because you're showing up better. For them, it feels better as well. I think that was one of the biggest shocks that I've had about myself as a consummate people pleaser back in the day. Recovering people pleaser. We're just like, are you good? Are you good? Are you good? Like, am I good? And sometimes Fred will stop and he'll be like, yeah, but really, Andrea, how do you feel right now? And when you're not just saying automatically fine, but you think about it, it's sometimes it's a hard question to answer because I'm like, I don't know, because I haven't thought about myself for so long.
So when you look at that selfishness, it reminds me of the old phrase on the airplane. Before you take off, they often say, make sure you put your own mask on before you put anyone else's mask on. And living a life where you're always last not only means that the people around you can't fundamentally respect you for being all out sacrifice, but you can't look after yourself well enough. You've got to be healthy. You've got to be mentally fit. You've got to be, of sound mind, and able to be the best person for everyone. So there has to be an element of, I need to put some of myself first so that I can then give to others. And I genuinely believe that that's a better way to parent, because your children grow up more likely to think, I want to be like mommy, I want to be like daddy, and I want to do what they do, than the person that they grow up thinking, I don't want to be like you. I don't want to raise my kids like you did.
And I'm also I'm still not brilliant at, I'll tend to give everybody the good stuff first. So say if we sit down for a meal, I'm going to like make sure that you get, I mean, he's smiling because he's like, that sounds, that sounds good for me. But I'll always, yeah. But the kids, they notice it. They always notice it. So I've had several different times come up. Number one with the oldest, so I think we were in a pub and we were having chips and cheese. We were sharing this meal and I was digging under to get the chips without the cheese on it so that he could have the cheesy chips. And he turned around to me and went, Mum, I can see what you're doing. Stop it. You have it too. That's amazing. He even saw that. And then I'm like having a word with myself. What am I doing? It's a work in progress.
I imagine for a lot of your people that you help, Amanda, when they start this journey, when the people in their life have been so used to them having them every last drop of them, they will find resistance from people to begin with.
Yes. So that's also where my woo-woo comes in because we do something called a superconscious recode, which actually helps let go of resistance. It's not religious. You just have to be aware to realize that you're more than a physical body. So it's energy work. And as long as you know that there's more to just this, anybody can do this and it doesn't interfere with your religion. We actually do this 5-step process. The first thing we always do is to choose what you want to create because this whole society is based on problem solving. And when you are always like focused on a problem, the problem has to exist. And people don't get that. So it's like if you are saying, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds. I need to lose 10 pounds. It's like that 10 pounds always has to exist and you automatically build a resistance. So if you just stop and say, I just want to create a healthy body I love, suddenly that 10 pounds isn't there and all your energy goes behind what you want to create. And then you have faster results. Then we go through a visualization. So you just like close your eyes and I'll like walk you through like a little visualization to get you in the feeling of it because we attract by our feelings. We can have as many thoughts as we want and say, oh, I want to have that body. But unless you're aligned with it, it's not going to come. And then after that is when we'll all of a sudden stop and say, okay, so well, what's it like now? That's when you put the brakes on and that's when all the resistance comes up and it's like, I don't have time to work out. And and then you write all that down. That's where you bring up all the resistance at that point. And then we go through something called a superconscious recode and anybody can do it. So you'll tap in with muscle testing and intuition and just literally give commands to your higher self. You have everything you need to be anybody you want to be, but we put these blocks. So it's like, I'm just helping guide field just with a couple of commands. And then after that, you have to follow up with an action step. So that's like our 5th step because you need to take an action between 24 to 48 hours just to prove to your subconscious that you're serious and you're making changes. And then that's when the momentum kicks in. And that can literally be anything. It could be signing up for the gym. It could be researching something. And this is not just about health. It's relationships. It's career. You can do this work for anything. I like to call it like a gym membership for your mind. Because it doesn't happen overnight. You do notice a shift immediately. I've never had anyone try one that they didn't notice an immediate shift, but it's like anything. You have to continue with it and stick to it for a lasting change.
It's really true, isn't it, that you can think and you can talk about and you can plan and you can theorize and you can visualize, but ultimately action is required.
Yes.
That's in order to kick the thing off. And as I've often found, and it's like the JFDI phrase, isn't it? Just do it. Action leads you on.
Yes. Even if you're not taking action is an action. It's like you're choosing not to do anything.
I was going to ask you about the fear of what other people think. And I know that we have many fears in us, and the fear of what others think is something that affects an awful lot of people. And social media doesn't help. And they may be feeling the need to show up and be better because it looks like those other people are happier, wealthier, being better mums and dads. How do you find when you're trying to coach people, this may get in the way, putting themselves last because they're putting everyone else first to try and be seen as the most saintly, best.
I ran into that, it's like that highlight reel when we were struggling financially and you're just seeing everybody's on the perfect vacation, smiling and this. And it's like, we all know somebody had a fight before dinner. Yeah. It's like something, somebody was crying. Someone got a sunburn. Someone had a sunburn. And, sometimes in the beginning, it is one of those kind of like lose the social media for a little while. It's like once you
Okay.
stop looking at that, it's so easy to say you can't worry about what other people think or say, but the truth is, it's like we're all just going through our own stuff. If people are judging you, it's because they're insecurities. So you just have to just focus on confidence, like building your own confidence, adding things that make your life happy. When you do things like that, you just, I think, naturally kind of lift up yourself and people around you, and you don't worry about it as much. But obviously, you have to put in a little effort for that.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about this show being how to love the life that you live. What is it that you do, Amanda, that sets the example for your family, for other people you're helping, so they can see that you're doing it, not just talking about it?
Yeah, I love that.
I do meditate. I love meditating. That's huge for me. Like I do that in the morning. I definitely don't care what people think anymore. I don't know when that came about, but just doing this work, I find people are more attracted to authentic people. It's like if you put out that post about the cute post with everybody on vacation smiling, but then you have the other one of, the sunburn. People
Yeah.
love that. Like you're
Yes.
relatable. So I just try to be as down to earth and relatable as I can. Getting out in nature is huge for me. Even if you're at work and you're stressed, honest to God, just literally take a call outside for 2 seconds or just walk outside and just that fresh air in your face, little things like that.
And it must be so bespoke for everybody. Finding that little bit of joy, what is that joy for them? Finding that little bit of time, what does that look like for them? That's what you're putting forward, aren't you? And what's
Absolutely.
written in your book.
Yes. It's trying to find, it's very personal work. It's like
Yes.
up to you. Yes. And that's why when we do our recodes and so people say, and it's like you're writing for you. Some people put things in the chat and that helps because you'll see something. You're like, oh, wow, I guess I have that too. I had a little feeling when you were saying earlier, Drea, because this was so me. I had such a I'm not worthy complex. Like,
Okay.
and I grew up, in a Catholic
Yes.
church and literally like our prayers say, I am not worthy in them. And it's
Yes.
interesting that you don't realize like that's just been sitting in your subconscious. I went 12 years of Catholic school. And that is such a tough one with me that I even still work through sometimes. But it's interesting the things that come up. And if people like are putting stuff out there that
Yeah.
start connecting with each other. And that's where I love community. Community is so important. And I would say this to any mom, especially the ones going through it with the young ones, to find play group, to find your besties that have kids at the age or something to make playtime even more fulfilling for you.
I love that.
It's important community, isn't it? It's something we're always working on and building on, and it's becoming, you expect it to be the big driver in the next 20, 30 years, or as people get really fed up of the living a life on a digital technology device.
Isolation almost.
In a form of isolation, succumbing to the profits of the tech companies who have mastered giving us things to distract us.
Yes.
And, getting back to just meeting up with people, falling out, falling in, all those kind of wrestles that you have to go through to have a community, don't you?
It has been wonderful talking with you today. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with that you think is important?
I would say especially for parents, that just presence is more important than perfection. So just to remember that, your kids, they don't care if your house is clean. They don't, I have days that I'm like, I feel on and I might have had, a great day at work and, I'm living a life I love and feeling amazing. And then I have days that I am having pizza with my family at home with, getting the side eye from the laundry in the corner. And that's okay. It doesn't matter, right? It's like, you have to be present, like be more present in the moment and just enjoy life. Like there's so much, we put so much pressure on ourselves to, be important and be productive and it's like, let's enjoy life. You can do it.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Have a great day and go and find your joy today.
Yes. Go live a life you love. Can start today.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Love One Life today. Thank you to Amanda. I'm Fred. This is Drea. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Love One Life. We're all about enjoying the life you have, living the best life you can, and being present in the moment, as we've talked about with Amanda today. Join us next time. See you soon.
Bye.